Hey. Mm-mm-mm. Hey, everybody. Steve Vance already here. Yes. He says, how am I doing? Doing pretty good, all things considered. Lydia's here. She said the girls can't make it tonight, so I guess she's talking about my sister Carol and my sister Linda. And but we're here, and we're going to do something different tonight. A little different tonight. And let's see. Before we start, any announcements? Yeah, I guess if you look over here, whoops, in this corner, you see a QR code. That's something new. And oh, Sharon's here. Hi, Sharon. And the QR code, you could bring your phone up close to it, your camera, and it will zoom in on it, and it'll take you to I believe it takes you to the Loot Mania 2024 page. So that's kind of some new technology I'm trying out there tonight. Oh, and before I forget, I want to come over here and invite some people here. Let's see. Coming over on Facebook. Let's see. Guitar addicts? Yeah, sure. Guitar world? Yeah. Guitar. Music student, guitar lovers, guitarists, jazz guitar, jazz, Latin. Not going to do the gypsy thing tonight. Nope. Let's see. Kate Smith, yes, my good friend. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, let's do the Telecaster Forum. Why not? Jazz guitar addiction. Songwriters and lyrics. That would be good for tonight because we're going to be taking a look at one of my songs, and we're going to talk about how I use technology in composition. So I thought that would be something different we could do today. That could be fun. And yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Yeah, put it there. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Oh yeah, going there. True Fire. Yeah. My friends at True Fire. Yep. Let's see. Oops. Jazz guitar. Blues. Jazz guitar talk. Let's see. There. Yeah, so this is going to be different. Oh, Carol's here. Lydia said that my sister Carol wouldn't be here. But there she is. All right. Still sharing. Getting there. Boom, boom. Boom. Boom, boom. Out goes the lights. Sharing there, and there, and there, and there, and there. So, I don't know if you get my newsletter. If you don't get my newsletter, you should sign up for it. You can go right up to my website, which is up here, and sign up to get my newsletter. This way you could see all the exciting, depressing, interesting, boring, everything that's going on, good and bad. All right, let's see. Bam. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I've shared my little heart out. Okay. I'm going to come back over here. All right. So let's get down to it. What do you say? So here's something a little different. Watch this. Boom. What you think about that? Oh, wait. I forgot to bring one other boom up. Boom. Okay. So now you're seeing my desktop. So that's what I see right now. So the chat bar is over here. And right now, everybody that's chatting, hey, Austin, is on Facebook. But one of the cool things tonight, anybody that's chatting that's on, everybody over here is on YouTube. You can see the little thing there. But anybody that's on Facebook will also, you'll be able to see them here. Yeah. Cool. Cool beans, as they say. All right, so we have a small audience, or a quiet. Well, you guys aren't quiet. You're actually chatting like crazy, which is great. That's what I want. But let's get right into it. So, I still can't play, and so because of that, I keep trying to come up with things that are fairly interesting to keep us engaged, and to keep me engaged with you, and you engaged with me, and us engaged with each other. And so I thought that today what we would do is I would talk about some composition stuff, especially since I've been injured. Oh, Marilyn is here. Oh yeah, Marilyn's here. Hey, Marilyn. Uh, since I can't play, and I'm still not going to be able to play for 4 more wonderful weeks. Uh, I found out when I did my last visit to the orthopedic guy, he said the finger still needs more time to heal. So that's what I'm doing. And but anyway, so I've been writing. I've been writing like a little fiend. And so today we have the software that you're seeing here. This is called Logic. And I'm going to actually spread it out just for a minute here. But see, now I'm covering up the chat bar just for a second. So as you can see, all these little areas, these are all different instruments and stuff, all right? And the green areas are MIDI. And so those are all fake instruments. And the instruments that I'm using are from a software package made by Garriton, and this Garriton Personal Orchestras, and this is the Garriton Personal Big Band. So these are all samples of, see here I have trumpet, here I have alto sax, here I have tenor sax, baritone sax, and bass bone. All right. So when I went to write this composition, like all the compositions that I do, I usually have some kind of concept, and a lot of times it sort of like I just think about things. And so this song actually came to me because I've written 4 new compositions, and they're all kind of on the medium to fast side, and they're all within 10 beats per minute of each other. And so I started thinking that I just got too much of the same, too much of the same thing. I want something different. So the first thing that I said, I was going to set a parameter, and I wanted to do something that was around 70 beats per minute. So if you look up at the top of the screen here, I have a working title called Funk 70 because it's 70 beats per minute. Clever. And up here in this little window, you could see 70, and that's the beats per minute. So if you had a metronome, you set it at 70, that's what you got going on here. And everything that you're going to hear tonight are either samples or they're MIDI, and the cool thing about using MIDI is you can keep changing the tempo and the MIDI will adjust with you. Whereas if I recorded live instruments, I'd be locked into whatever tempo that was. And I also used drum samples, but the cool thing about using drum samples is that you can stretch and modify them. I'll show you how. Without you can change the tempo without really modifying their sound too much. They do change a little bit, but it's pretty cool. So I got a 70 beat per minute thing. And then I thought, well, what do I want to do? And I knew I wanted to do something with horns, because the last song I did, of the 4 songs I've written, the third song I did with strings. I wanted to do a string thing, and maybe one week we'll go over that. Maybe we'll do that next week if everybody likes this. And so I decided I want to do something with horns, all right? And I've been listening a lot to Corey Wong. I've been listening a lot to Lewis Cole and his band Knower, and they both do a lot of stuff with horn sections. And so I wanted to do something with a horn section, and I decided to go with 5 horns. So the 5 horns are, from highest to lowest, are trumpet, alto sax, tenor sax, baritone sax, and bass bone. And the bass bone also can double on regular trombone. And the way that I stacked them was from the highest instrument to the lowest instrument, so that as I was voicing out my chords for them to play, I would know that the trumpet always had the highest note, the alto had the second highest note, the tenor had the third highest note, the bari had the fourth, and the bari and the bone were usually doubled together. Okay, so let's start right in, and I'm gonna show you the inspiration for the horns. Actually came from a song by Charles Mingus, and if you play stuff on when we're doing these live streams, a lot of time if I play something that's previously recorded, the little nanobots come and shut us down. So I got it on my phone, and I'm just gonna play like just the riff, and hopefully it'll be so short that they won't grab it. So here we go. Listen to this. Oh, that's not what I want to hear. Sorry. That's it. Okay, so hopefully I got away with that. So that's by the great Charles Mingus. Charles Mingus was a bass player, composer, author, revolutionary. Very interesting cat. And so I always loved this song. The song is called "Moanin'," and it starts this great baritone part. Boom, ba-dee, boom, ba-doop, ba-doop, ba. And I was like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have like this riff that's gonna run through the whole tune. This riff, and but I didn't want to do mine swing. I wanted to do mine funky. So mine is more straight eighth, and of course I didn't want to plagiarize. I didn't want to plagiarize, so I came up with a different melody, but it was based on that. So why don't we start with that? So I'm going to start with the baritone sax, and here's the melody. All right, and so then I was like, I'm going to take that and I'm going to double it with the bass bone to make it fatter. So here's the bass bone and the bari sax. All right, so now I got that sort of like, I guess you'd call it an ostinato figure that just keeps repeating over and over. And then I wanted to have like horn stabs, coming in there. And again, I wanted it to be like a funk thing. So I started thinking about like, James Brown, in his horn section. And they would be doing like bop, 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 stuff like that. But, I didn't want it to be on one chord because again, I like chord changes. So I'm not really into these like 8-minute long one chord vamps. I mean, which are cool, but just for me, I like to have stuff to blow over. Well, let's see. Sharon says I'm channeling my Rick Beato. Yeah. Okay. So what I did was I came up with a horn part. All right. And so again, I sort of had this rhythmic idea, and then I took the three horns and I built chords. And the chord progression that we're playing is G minor. I guess you could think that's the key we're in, G minor. Then we go to an E7 sharp 9, and then we go through the cycle of fifths coming out. So we go from E7 sharp 9 to, let's see, then A minor 7 flat 5-ish to D7 sharp 9 flat 9. And that's the chord progression. So it's like 1, 6, 2, 5. Very, very, very common chord progression. And so for my little horn part, I didn't want to do like sort of like modern upper extension chords. I wanted to do old school. And have it sound more R&B-ish and less jazz. So I didn't use a lot of upper extensions. So here's what the horns sound like. Yep. So here's G minor, E7, A minor, D7. Okay? Now, if you put all this together, this is the little horn vibe that runs through the entire song. There you go. So now I got my horn vibe. So now I got to go and I got to find, or the next thing I did, I wanted to find a groove that would go along with this and that I could start building the rest of the song, because when you're doing sort of like a funk R&B thing, the groove is everything, it's like 90%, right? So I use this software. I'm going to pull it up here if I can. Doodly doo doo doo. I don't know how big or small it's going to come up because I'm doing some weird things with two screens tonight. So let's see. Just curious to see if I could actually get it to open. It's a software called Splice, and you subscribe to it. And with the subscription, you pay a monthly fee. And in return for this monthly fee, you get access to unlimited sounds. So here I actually have, here is my library on the left is my library. So I go to my sounds and I have 377 sounds that I have saved in the, I guess, 2 or 3 years I've been using this, all right? So what I did was I went in here and you just like type in, so what I did was I typed in that I wanted a funk groove, tight funk groove. Oh, Glenn Michael Thompson's here. Hey, I was finally able to make it. He goes, I love Mingus. Yeah, I got to play in all Mingus ensemble under the direction of Andrew Holmesy. Oh yeah, excellent, good. So anyway, so I had to I went and found grooves that were around 70 beats a minute, and I actually found one groove that literally was 70 beats a minute, which was like very cool. And oops, come on, let me. Oh, why can't I drag this over? Why? Oops. No, I don't want to do that. Sorry. Please stand by. Doodly doo doo doo. Okay. It's just so weird that the little bar on the bottom just keeps like disappearing. Can I make it come back? How do I make you come back, little bar? Oh, little bar of Bethlehem. What if I do this? Oh, good. Okay, I could do that. All right, so I came up and I found a beat that was 70 beats per minute, and here it is. This is the drum pattern that I found that was 70 beats a minute. Boom, boom, bap, boom. Nice, huh? Yeah, and what's cool is it really works with the horns. So now if you hear the two of them together, if I could back this up, back up. Okay, if I back it up. See, it kind of goes with the bop bop. Yeah, cool. So it's what we call a happy accident, that you find a drum groove that just happened to lock in with the horn groove. Now, I was like, all right, that's cool. But what I do with these samples, that drum sample groove, I can never leave them alone. I always got to do stuff. And so to me, that drum groove was nice, but it wasn't special. You know, it was kind of like stripped down. It was right in the pocket. It was perfect, but it wasn't exactly the sound I was looking for. So I kept looking. So I kept it, right? And then I found another one. And this one was at a slightly different tempo. So this one, I had to stretch it to make it fit. And the way that you do that, again, I don't know how big your screen is, but over here in the track window here, there's this little infinity thing, and that allows you to stretch the time. So I could make this, I could turn it in to 70 beats a minute. So whatever it was, I don't remember how many beats a minute it was, but I took it, I dragged it in there and changed it to 70 beats per minute. And this sounds like this. This is this second beat, which you'll see is much different than the first beat. Right? Very ambient, a lot of echo, a lot of reverb. Cool, right? Now, another happy accident. If you look, these things line up. Like if you see these little lumps here, you could see that the beats, the bass drum lines up with stuff that's happening in the other beat. Again, another happy accident. And when you put them together, you get this effect. Yeah, right? Pretty hip. Yeah. Oh, Bill Morton, beats per minute, BPM, bro. Yep. All right. Let's see. Steve said, Doug, have you ever tried any version of Pro Tools? Nope. I use Logic, Steve, because being a Mac guy, GarageBand comes with Macintosh computers, so I was used to using GarageBand, and Logic is the pro version of GarageBand. So that's why I use Logic. I'm sure they're similar. I'm probably sure that Pro Tools is probably a little bit more sophisticated than Logic, but for what I do, it's perfect. You know, it's sort of like I'm not a super tech head, and this is good for me. Good for me. So two more things I added to my drum thing here. Here's a sound that will take you back. It's called an 808, and it's a specific sounding sort of like bass drum that has a giant tone. Oh yeah, it's an 808. Here it comes again. Oh yeah. And so if you have on your headphones, you're feeling that. No, Bill Morton, no, it's not a Roland 808. I mean, it could be if Roland 808 has that sound, but the 808 was a drum machine. Oh, maybe it was the Roland 808. Yeah, maybe you're right, Bill. I could be wrong. You could be right. Let's see. Oh, we're talking about the weather. Yeah, night, a beautiful day today. Oh my gosh. I did work out in the yard, almost killed myself. All right, so there we go. So so let me play you what we got so far. All right. So really, we're just missing two things, which I'm going to mute. All right. So now, let's go back, and we'll go back to the beginning. All right. So now this is what I got so far. Uh. All right, so that's pretty good. And the only thing I felt there is that even though we have the baritone sax and we have the bass trombone, we don't have like an actual bass. And so I wanted, I wanted to add a bass. And so I kind of came up with this bass part. And again, this is a MIDI bass. It's supposed to be a bass guitar being plucked with a pick. I don't know, but it sounds pretty cool. And here's the bass part I came up with. Uh, uh, oh yeah. Mm. All right. So what I did was I tried to make sure that the bass did not interfere or happen at the same time as the big note of the bari sax and the bass bone. So if you see, hopefully the two of them work together. Okay, so far so good. Now let's go back and hear the whole thing one more time, and we're almost up to the melody part. Mm. Yeah. So everything fits nicely, It to me it all clicks. Everybody's got their little part to play, and it all fits together. Bill Morton is schooling us here big time. He says the Roland TR-808 rhythm composer, commonly known as the 808, a drum machine manufactured between 1980 and 83, was one of the first drum machines to allow to program rhythms instead of preset patterns. There you go. Bill laying this on us. Yes, the 808. Yeah, yeah. Very cool. So now there was just one thing that I wanted, and I couldn't figure out how to do it, but eventually I did. So I wanted something in the hole over here before the song starts. So I'm just going to start at the third bar, right? So we got the third bar going, right? And then we have this break, and then the song comes in, right? So I wanted something here, something. And like I kept making this noise with my mouth, where I was like, I want it to be something like shh, something like that, and I'm like, is that like a cymbal swell? What is it? And finally I was like, why don't I just make it be that? And so I just recorded myself going shh, and it seems it seemed to work. So here it is, and I'm going to this will take us right up to the melody. Yeah. All right. That's pretty funny. Let's see. Marilyn said the one before 909. Oh, the Beatles. A Beatle reference. Yes. Yeah. I'm drinking Polar tonight. Oops. There you go. Polar. This is a good one. This is tart cherry limeade. And I got to say, that might be my fave. All right, so now I had to come up with a melody, right? And you would think the melody would be the most important part of the song. And it's a super important part of the song, because hopefully the melody you're going to remember. You're going to be able to sing the melody. And but to me, rhythm is the equal partner of harmony, and they're just so important. And so I kept trying to mess around with melodies, And I was playing this melody and I said, oh my gosh, I know where this melody is from. So I gotta, let's see if I can get away with not getting in trouble for this too. Um, let's see. Come back here. Come back here. Over here. Quit that. So, um, let's see. So there's a group. Oops, what did I do? There there's there's a group called Outcast, and they they did a song called "So Fresh, So Clean," and the first part of the melody they play I love, and so I'm going to play that for you, and hopefully the little gremlins won't bite us. Let's see. And try and just get it right on it. Ooh, not yet. It's coming. It's coming. Here we go. Okay. So that's that. So I kept hearing that that melody. Bum 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 bum. Now obviously I couldn't rip the whole thing off, right? And so I just took a piece of it and then I added my own thing to it. And again, you kind of got to be forgiving with the MIDI because this is supposed to be nylon string guitar. So let's see. Because I know I double tracked it. I did one and then I did it an octave lower. All right. And then I took that and oops. And then I doubled it basically an octave higher. So there was my melody, all right? And so with a little tip of the cap to Outcast and then kind of did my own thing before it became actually plagiarous. And then I left space. I play the melody and then I leave space. So here, let's check it out from the melody. Now that seems good, and again it was a little bit of luck and a little bit of maneuvering. So the bum 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 that worked out perfect, and but then the other bo beep ba bo bo ba, all those things, I had to make sure that they didn't clash with the harmony. And this was an instance where I was very lucky that the harmony was very simple. So if I was doing upper extensions, I wasn't clashing with anybody. So it was good. It was very, very good. We're talking about microdosing here. How did we get on that? Sharon, keyword microdose. We're so close. It's so cool to watch. All right. Okay, I'll mind my own business. So let's check out the melody. I'm gonna go through the melody here. And again, I love using space back into the groove, right? Don't forget the groove. Here comes the melody. Another space. Now, I changed the melody up because, like, how many times can you take that before you're like, nah, So now what I did was I took the second half of the melody and I just took that ba beep bop and I just kept doing it and I do it inside the harmony, and then at one point I do it outside the harmony. So it sounds like this. Let me see if you can hear when it's in and out. In, out. So again, in, out, in. Now listen to it against the track, and you'll see that when I do go out, I happen to go out when it's when it's going to the D7 chord. So anything you play on a dominant 7 should be forgiven. Woo! Again. Then end with the first melody. All right, so now we've come to like what I would consider the end of a section, the end of a thought. Time for a change, at least that's how I felt, So when I'm composing this, it's sort of a collaboration with my brain, I guess, and like with inspiration and with listening to what's come and letting what's going to happen. It's sort of like, it's almost like you can't kind of like force things to happen or prejudge them. You just kind of try to get a feel for, you think something needs to happen, but what is that thing? And so a lot of times I'll listen to this over and over again, and then it kind of like comes to me, where I'm like, it needs to break down. That's what I felt. Like we have such this like horn thing that's never stopped. Things are coming in and out, but really mostly just in. And so I just want to break things up now. So let's see. Glenn said, this is great to watch, Doug. I need to learn how to work with a DAW. Yeah, I have to choose what software. Definitely something basic. I've only used tape machines before. Yes, Glenn. When I was young, that's all there was. I started with 2 reel-to-reels doing sound on sound. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think Steve said, what version of Logic do you use? Logic Pro X, whatever the latest one is. Once you buy Logic Pro X, you get updates. They just will say update your Logic Pro X, so it's good. All right, so now let's just take a look at this next part. And so this next part, even before you hear it, you can see that things are going to be different here, right? So we have like this little moment of like taking a breath. And so the 808's going to hit. The bass part is there. All the horns are gone. Just the bass part is there. And I bring in a new drum sample. And what's interesting, this drum sample has an 808, but it's different than the other 808. So you're going to hear you're going to hear the first 808. Then when it starts in this little breakdown part, you're going to hear the second one. So it's subtle, but it's different. So now just dead quiet. Take a breath. So that's kind of cool, right? It kind of like, it's like cleansing your palate, where you're like, okay, we're coming out of this whole thing. Now we're going to go to some other thing. And this other thing is going to be the improv section, because, being an improvising musician, I got to have a section that I could blow on and like do my thing, right? And so what I did was I borrowed something more from like the Oliver Nelson playbook, where Oliver Nelson did a very great record called Blues and the Abstract Truth. And if you've never heard it, it's a great record to check out. It was pretty much a groundbreaking recording. And he did some cool stuff. And another guy's Gil Evans. His Birth of the Cool, and the stuff he did with Miles. I want to say, I think it was called Sketches of Spain. Uh, just did a lot, just did lot of really cool stuff with horns. And this is almost the opposite of what we had in the beginning. In the beginning, we had these R&B um, horns that were not playing upper chord extensions and we're not playing weirdo stuff. It was just playing like R&B basic chord forms. Now we're going to get the horn section and they're going to be playing much more modern horn things. All right. So let me solo the horns. And what happens with the horns? See, I have a whole different set of horns. They're down here now in the chart, because I really wasn't sure. Like, do I want to have a different effect on these? Like, what do I want? So I just put them on separate tracks. And so now instead of trumpet, I have flugelhorn. And I still have bass bone. Yep, I didn't use a regular trombone. So I got flugelhorn, alto sax, tenor sax, bari, and bone. Right? So now my three horns, they're playing the same chord changes as before. Right? They're going to play G minor, E7 sharp 9, A minor, I think half diminished, and then D7 sharp 9 flat 9. All right? But they sound different. Listen how they sound now. So very, very different, right? Much more sort of modern, exotic sounding. And what's interesting is here the horns are very dry. Let me see if I could just bring this over a little bit. Yeah, stolen moments, exactly. Glenn, you know your stuff, bro. All right, so if we look over here, so here's the flugelhorn. If you look at the flugelhorn, there's no effects on the flugelhorn. Let's see. Looking here, looking there, looking everywhere. Why can't I? Monitoring? No. Mastering? Channel mode? Channel mode? Channel mode? Looking to see why I cannot. Oh, here's the sends. Good. Okay, so bus. All right, so here I have a couple of reverbs sent up. Small room, large hall, ambient, small plate. I'm going to use large hall because I want some reverb on here, right? So I'm going to do the same for all of these. Where I'm going to come here, I'm going to go to bus, add bus 3, come here. There you are. Add bus 3. 2 more. Come here. Add bus 3. 1 more. Come here. And add bus 3. All right. So now I have some reverb. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to solo. I'm going to solo my my flugelhorn. And what I could do too is if I come all the way up to the top of the page here, up here where it says like 32, and I go like this, and say I drag this across, this is going to make this loop. So if I hit play now, it's just going to play this over and over again. It's going to keep playing it over and over again, so I can mess with it. So now while it does that, I can come to my bus here and I could put some reverb on it. Oops. See, I like that a little better. a little bit more mysterious, so it's not so in your face. Now I'll add my alto. Add my tenor. Let's see, my tenor has it? No, my tenor doesn't have it. My Barry might be a little too much on the Barry. And a little bit on the bone. Okay. So now if I take the loop off, now it'll just keep playing. And you're going to see that the Barry sax and the bass bone are not in at all yet. And that's because I want this section to develop. Now here comes the bass bone. Right, so I'm building up this section because I'm blowing over this, so I should be going more mental as the section goes on. Here comes the bass bone, the Barry an octave lower. Ooh, got some rough edges there. Yeah. And so you could see that that's much more aggressive harmonically, where there's much more sort of rubs, close dissonant notes. Very different than if we go back to the very beginning. So this is the exact same chord changes as this. Same chord changes, but what a different vibe, right? This is all like 70s funk, James Brown, horn funk. And then if we come all the way up, to here, I wish I could move this faster, but that little bar on the bottom just disappears when I go to grab it. Okay, if we come here, you'll hear that it's just a completely different vibe. Right? You would never think it's the same song. All right, so now I have my drum thing coming up, right? The bass is playing, the new drum thing is playing, and then I add the original drum part back in. I add the original first drum part that I came up with. So I have the new 808 weirdo sound, the original drum part. And then things are going to get crazy. So as we go further along here, I'm going to bring in a drum part that we haven't heard before. And this drum part is a little wackadoodle in that it's double time. So if I solo this and you hear this drum part, it's twice as fast as the other drum parts. And let me just see, do we bring in something else? I don't think so. Nope. Okay, so we have, if we just do the drum parts, we start, let me see, solo this, solo that. Oh, I don't want to play the bass part, just the drum parts, solo, solo. So we have this drum part, right? And we have the original drum part is in now, right? So again, we're kind of building. What I want to do is I want to build through this section. So I thought adding this double time part on top of everything here, kind of cool, right? So it doesn't make everything feel double time, just makes it feel a lot busier, right? Cool. All right, so now let's hear this whole sort of solo section. So this is the section where I get to blow. get to express myself. Okay, so now let me get everything off, turn everything on. Boom. All right, so this is our last sort of A section going into the solo section. That almost reminds me of Love Supreme in a way. Love Supreme. Love Supreme. Here comes the horns. So I'd probably start blowing here. Building up. Oh, Linda's here. Yay. She probably doesn't know what the hell's going on. All right, let's see what happens next. What happens now? Some heavy rhythm. You got to get back to the top somehow. Ooh, finger snaps. Yeah. And the finger snaps are actually double time because we came from double time drums coming back. And here we are back at the top. Second melody. And I think we're pretty close to wrapping it up now. Yep. Big old 808 at the end. Yeah. And there you have it. Now, Steve wrote, Doug, it's amazing what you can do with these DAWs, and that means digital audio workstation. And yeah, you don't need to go into a studio anymore. I have to say that I still go into the studio for a number of reasons. I'm going to go into a regular studio because I'm going to redo everything with live horns. And really, it's just going to be the horns because the guitar parts I can do in my home. But I don't have the right microphones or separation or space in my little studio here to do a horn section. But I'll do all the guitar parts, I'll do the bass parts, all the drum loops will be there, and then I'll just go into the studio and get the horns recorded, and I'll probably mix in the studio because I really like the guy that I work with, this guy JC at Raw Recording in Patterson, New York, and he's got great ears, and so it's just kind of good to get with somebody else so that, you know, they can just hear stuff that like you might be missing, you know. And so yeah, but for sure, you know, yeah, we're going to definitely, you know, we're going to record real horns, which are going to sound, you know, much better than this, and obviously real guitar is going to sound better. And I'm still not 100% on what kind of guitar I'm going to use. A lot of times I love juxtapositioning things where you have drum loops but acoustic guitar, you know. So I'm right now, I think that I'm going to try my first crack at it when I'm able to play again, if that ever happens, is going to be with nylon string guitar, I think. But we'll see. We'll see. You know, again, if I listen to what I do, it'll probably tell me what works and what doesn't, you know. Steve said, "Did I ever try Pro Tools?" Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say 95%, more than 95%. Yeah, like almost all of the studio stuff that I've ever done, as far as, like when everything turned digital. I mean, when I first started recording, there was no digital anything. But I would say that the industry standard is still Pro Tools. Yeah, and I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable working with somebody that's using Pro Tools. I don't exactly know all the ins and outs of Pro Tools. Pro Tools, is a great finishing tool, and like I'm not really doing finishing work in my little home studio, because with Pro Tools they have like these automatic crossfade things, and I'm sure that probably Logic does too. But again, I don't know. I just don't get that fussy with it. It just is what it is. But yeah, So there you go. That's the song, and there's still a lot to do. Like I haven't really mixed it here. I just added some reverb with you guys for that horn part, and that really made a difference. Let me see. I'm gonna come over here. I'm going to try to come over here. Here I am. And I'm going to come back here. Let's see if this works. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Yay. All right. It worked. Okay. Let me see. So I did that. Now I should be able to take this. Oops. No, I should be able to. I'm working with two different screens. Let me see. Let me drag this back. Can I drag this back? Oops. Here we go. Come back. Come back. Come back. I'm back. Okay, good. Oops, let me just move this over here a little more. Good. Okay. So, yeah, so there you go. That was something a little different. Yeah. Linda says, yeah, hi, friends. And yes, Doug, I had no idea what you were doing, and I laughed when you said that. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we did something different today, Linda. We were taking a look at one of my new compositions, and I was just discussing and showing how I write, how I get stuff, to happen. How do I get it to happen? And yeah, so that's what we did. How'd everybody like that? Let's see. Boom, boom, bang, 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 bang. Something different, because again, like I said, it's gonna still be, well, actually 3 more weeks, roughly, before I could even try playing. And I have to say, I've been getting impatient. So the other day, I played a little bit with my 2 fingers, and oh my gosh, I have no calluses. My fingers were like killing me. So I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a long haul, and yeah. But what are you gonna do? Got to take the good with the bad. And I think that's it. I think that's what I plan to do tonight. And if you like this, let me know. And we can do something else like this next week. I really would like to. I want to do something every week again. I'm tired of the every other week, and I'm just tired of waiting. And I just want to get engaged again in doing stuff with music. And so I don't really know what I'm going to do next week, but I'm going to come up with something, and I hope you like it, and I'm going to try, mixing stuff up. I would love to do stuff, talking about, other artists and artists that influence me, but it just seems that when you do that, you get torn down by the the nanobots that search and say that you're playing copyrighted material. And so but I see that people do it. Somebody had mentioned Rick Beato, and he seems to be able to do that. Although I know in the past he's had problems, and I don't know how he resolved that, where he would show, or talk about a record or whatever. Let's see. Glenn says, great. I could use some tutorials on how to use the DAW. I really like how you built up the sections, dynamics, etc. Thanks. Good. Good. Lisa liked it. Thanks, Lisa. You hung tough tonight. Everybody say hi to Lisa, our friend from Philly. Yeah. Yeah. Talk about the songwriting process. Sure. I mean, I actually sort of talked about that, but I could do something more just literally about ways. Let's see. He goes, Rick Beato dealt with the copyright issue early on. Yeah, I don't know how he resolved it, but he somehow he must have. Austin liked it. He said, thanks, I enjoyed it tonight. Good. Good, 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 good. So I think we're supposed to have another nice day tomorrow up here in the Northeast. So if you can, get outside. And I guess that's it. I'll see you all next week. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I'll let you know. In the meantime, please be sure to go to my website and get on my my newsletter, my mailer, and this way you can see everything that's happening. Oh, there is some news. I just found out today that I filled out all the paperwork and all the licensing. So Loop Mania is now going to be officially, you're going to be able to download the entire record. Although I got to do that. I got to write myself a note right now. Sorry, I'm speaking right into the microphone. I have to put Loop Mania for download. Right now on my website, there's only 4 tracks that you could download, but I can change that now because I just got all the clearances and compulsory licenses. So I'm going to be putting the entire CD. You're now going to be able to get a digital copy. You can still buy a hard copy, which I prefer, but you can get a digital copy, and you also will be able to stream it. You'll be able to stream it on all the typical Spotify, Apple Play, Pandora, everything, all those streaming services. It'll be there. All right, and hope you all have a great week. Much love to you all. As I usually say, love, peace, and chicken grease. All right, we'll see you next week. Peace.